Monica, thanks so much for doing this. Tell me about your business. Tell me where you guys are located. Give me your website address, social media handles, all that good stuff.
Hi, well, I'm here representing the One Bride Guide magazine, and we also are just venturing out into an online wedding planning resource, the One Community. So you can start by going to www.theonebrideguide.com, and from there you can find the One Community, but that's the one dot community. And brides can sign up for free wedding planning tools there, or you can check out our magazine at theonebrideguide.com. And then we're on all the social channels under the One Bride, usually, or the One Bride Guide.
Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
So what was the inspiration behind the One Bride Guide?
Well, we started, my main business is McLeod Creative, and it's a graphic design company. And we had been doing magazine publication for different things. We had done 101 things to do in Corpus Christi. We're in Corpus Christi, Texas, on the coast. And I was doing a magazine for the international, or the American Schools of International Research, or something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
Oriental Research, American Schools of Oriental Research. And they were doing a publication called Near Eastern Archaeology. So we would do all the archaeological journals would be packed into this magazine, and we'd do the illustrations. And unfortunately, one year they lost their funding, and so we weren't able to continue that relationship with them. I mean, it was
Yeah.
a great relationship, but had to move on. And so we were looking around kind of, well, what do we do now? And this was, the economy was starting to really be in a bad state. This was 2007, 2008. And we said, let's create our own thing. And we wanted to get into the wedding business, but we had tried custom invitation design, and, it was just, our stuff was too expensive because it was
Yeah.
really custom. And so it was hard to really build a business on that. And one of my best friends at the time, Trish Gamina, she's now Trish McMillan, she and her husband, Jared McMillan, were the top wedding photographers in Las Vegas. And they had been trying to talk me into becoming a wedding photographer. And I said, no, I don't want to go spend my weekends shooting weddings. I'm just,
Yeah.
I've starting a family, and so I said, but I can do a magazine. And so we had done a meeting planner's guide for the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And it unfortunately was a very small deal. And but it gave us the idea behind the One Bride Guide. And what it was all of the different venues and their information around town of if somebody wanted to come and host a convention in Corpus Christi, here's all the rooms that are available and the capacities and the
Yeah.
dimensions. And I was like, oh my gosh, all the brides need to know this information. And
Mhm.
so the One Bride Guide really started out with that site finder. And so we have a site finder section of our magazine where it's every venue who can host 50 people or more. And then it lists their dimensions and everything, and amenities. And so we were providing that resource along with a giant directory. And it was, lots and lots of people, and all these mom and pop shops that, maybe their cell phone was their business phone,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they were not going to be in the yellow pages. And so none of this information really existed for Corpus Christi. And so we took the idea of the site finder and the idea of this big directory and had a sample of each one. And then we knew we wanted to do wedding spotlights, local spotlights. And so had an example of a spotlight. And then my friend Trish from Vegas sent me a picture from Vegas of a wedding she shot that sort of looked like it could be in Corpus Christi. So
Mhm.
I don't think many people actually know that our inaugural issue was a picture from Las Vegas. But that was our
Had to
cover.
start somewhere, right?
Yeah. So that was our cover, and we took that around and sold it, and people gobbled it up. It was so needed at the time. And so we started the magazine then, and it started really small. And my first sales person worked commission only, which, she hated, and I
Yeah.
eventually couldn't keep her because it wasn't really fair. And then, but we grew and evolved from there. But that's how we got our start.
So how far are you guys out now from Corpus Christi?
We serve about 140-mile radius. So we go just past Victoria, up the coast, and then down to Alice and Kingsville and all the little towns in between, Beeville and Odom, and of course, like Padre Island and Rockport, Port Aransas, Aransas Pass, those kinds of areas. But we haven't expanded down to the valley yet. We were talking about doing that with the print issue when really we decided we needed to focus more online. And so we never pulled the trigger on expanding down to the valley. But
Gotcha. Yeah. How big is your distribution right now? Like where do you put your magazines, and how big is the distribution?
Well, we print 10,000 an issue, and it goes mostly in boutiques and coffee shops and all the wedding places. All of our advertisers have issues. And then we just started putting the magazine in the grocery stores at H-E-B. We were a little bit scared of H-E-B, honestly, because we didn't think we could print enough, that we would put it in H-E-B and it would just be snatched up, and which is good. But we also want it to be targeted, so we were trying to put it into areas where we knew our advertisers' target market was going to be. And so,
well, that's key, right? I mean, for sure, right? Reaching the right crowd is probably is the key thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's been really great. 10,000 is pretty perfect. We do 3 issues a year at 10,000. And I love that schedule for us. We talked about when we were starting, do we do it quarterly? And then we really position the issues around the wedding season. So we do a February issue, which hits February 1st. So then it gets all the brides that get engaged over.
Right in the core planning time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have a June 1st issue. So that hits the summer. And then an October 1st issue that covers all the holidays. And so we distribute that issue for 4 months. And, we put we do a giant delivery of probably over half of our product right away. And then we spend the next 3.5 months just refilling the places.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And you get pretty good distribution with the 10,000?
Yeah, it all gets taken up. We rarely have issues left over, and
that's important.
Yeah,
that's important.
When we do have issues left over, we'll actually just stack the new one on top of them, and the old issues still get taken because these brides, they know by now that each issue has different spotlights, and maybe the directory and the site finder are the same, but all the articles are different, and so they. At the wedding fairs, we'll bring, if we have any leftover stuff, we'll bring it, and brides just take it up. So
that's good.
Really well.
So I know from a data perspective that about a third of couples still use printed materials. But let's talk about why you're still doing a printed material. I know you're expanding to do more stuff online, which a lot of people are online. But what I'd probably say the elephant in the room is, why should I, invest in printed magazine? Well, from a data perspective, I'll tell you there's at least a third of couples are still using printed materials to help plan with their wedding. So just that alone is a great way to expand your reach outside of what's online. But what are the other reasons, would you say, are to be in a printed magazine?
Well, my perspective on print, and I come from an advertising and graphic design background, is that one, it's another impression, and that's what you need. You need as many impressions from different areas as you can. So you may have a digital plan, but if you don't have 10 different things going on, you're not going to have as much success as if you were just to do a print ad or just do a digital placement. So one, it's just another impression that's totally different than everything else. And I think the impression actually lasts longer than a digital impression, because digital stuff is so fast and people's attention span is so short online that it's just like next, swipe, And so with print, the nature of print is you're in a more contemplative mode. You're looking at it, you're slowing down, and you're looking at images. There's white space and time for your eye to rest. And so then the images that are coming in, these advertising spots, are actually going to burn in your brain a little bit harder than maybe a digital impression, which is just going to be a moment. And then also with the print, people hold on to it. And that's something with our publication we really wanted to make sure happened. And that's why we started it with the site finder and the directory and the resources, rather than just a whole magazine full of dresses. Because my experience when I was planning my wedding is I picked up every single magazine. And so it's a given that the bride's going to pick it up, especially if it's a free issue.
Yeah.
So she's not going to not pick it up if it exists. So a bride's going to want to get her hands on every single thing that exists, because this is her time. This is her time to be a bride. She wants it all. And so what I did is I did that. I picked up every single magazine. And then with the magazines that were just full of dresses, I just tore out all the dresses and you put that into my file. So the one thing we see happening with our magazine is, because it's this huge directory, it's a site finder, and then we have a budget sheet and a photo shoot sheet and a registry checklist and all these things that can last a while. Brides are just holding on to the whole magazine. So then they're going through it, maybe 5 or 6 times. And so as they're flipping through it, and we position ads right across from the tools every time. And so now that one issue is getting, maybe 5 or 6 impressions.
Yeah.
And so where, an ad on a website they visit that maybe shows up once, that's not going to be the same. And then personally, from a graphic design perspective, I've always said to everyone I've talked to about, when they say, well, everything's going digital, that okay, that's fine. We're going digital too. But even if print is not the thing anymore, I'm still going to print the One Bride Guide, because one, I love it. I look at it as a portfolio piece for the community. And, being a graphic designer and an artist, it was really important to me to put out this amazing work of these photographers. And so the photographers they really carry the magazine, because if it weren't for the photographers, this magazine probably wouldn't exist. That's the sexy part that draws people in. The tools aren't going to keep people hanging around.
Right. They'll use them, but yeah, they're looking at the pictures.
Right. So we've got both, and that's also why we made the magazine large format. That was really important to me. And we've been pressured financially to consider a smaller issue. I know Rolling Stone had to do that at one point. They used to be this big, large format magazine. Yep. Now they're 8.5 by 11. But honestly, I'm going to just fight tooth and nail to keep it a large format as long as I can, because to me, that's kind of part of the magazine's character, and that everything's bigger, and it's really is a portfolio piece.
Yeah. So how big is the magazine?
It's 9.25 by 12.
Oh, okay. So it is kind of a larger format than you would normally get, which makes it probably nice to be able to flip through, kind of like the old Life magazines and the Rolling Stone kind of format. Yeah. Nice.
I wanted it to be bigger, but that's the biggest we could do it, where it would still fit into one of those plastic file boxes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. So if I'm looking to do print as a business, what are some things I should be thinking about? Because I remember back, a while ago when my wife and I had a paper business that we were doing, just thinking about then with print, even though I'm a computer science person, I wasn't really thinking about print and format of printing. So there are some specific things I need to think about when it comes to printing. What are those things I need to be thinking about?
Well, you definitely want to use high quality photography. If you can, we get so much bad photography from people, things they think, oh, I shot this great picture on my iPhone. And there's, when you actually have to place it into an ad, it's fuzzy and, it's blown out or whatever. I mean, it's worth it to spend a little extra money to get somebody with a really good camera, maybe with a wide angle lens, if you've got a
Yeah.
venue or something like that, to get some good photography done. And then, putting yourself in the picture. People, it's really any kind of marketing right now is about relationship marketing, and people will respond better if they know a little bit more about the person, or the company has a person behind it, and that's been true for years. But if there's a reason, you're not just going to stick your face in your ad for no reason. So make sure there's a reason.
Yeah.
But and also really to have one main thought. People want to shove so much information into their ad, and your ad is not a place to tell everybody what you do, honestly. And your ad is meant to, and this is digital or print, it's meant to capture your attention. That's it. And get you to do the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is the next thing? So you want to make sure you have a call to action in your ad. You don't want to just be like Lulu's flowers and it's just a bunch of flowers and you've got a phone number there.
Yeah.
There at least needs to be some direction, like call me now.
Yeah.
The most basic thing, you need to tell people what you want them to do.
At least call me for a free quote, right?
Right. Yeah. Come in and browse, our pictures, something. That, I think that's the biggest mistake people make. And then with that call to action, even better if you can have it be something that you think will attract them. You've got a giveaway. I mean, giveaways are amazing. People should do more giveaways, but then be smart about your giveaway. Like, make people come into your store. If you've got a storefront, or they have to fill out a form. So it's not just this, real easy thing. They have to actually do something for it. Or maybe enter to win, like if people are doing beauty products, then enter to win a girls' night, and we'll do your makeup for your best friends, for your, bridesmaids one night. You can have a party and we'll bring a free bottle of champagne. The point, if you're like a more one-to-one type of service, hairstylist, beauty, even really small boutiques, your call to action, a great call to action is to get people to come in, like bring your whole group in, and we'll create an experience for you somehow. So those are the best ones. And then really just have one call to action. You don't want to send them to 5 different things, because now they're distracted and they're gone.
Yeah. It's good. That's good information. Let's switch gears a little bit, talk about the business side of things. What would you say for you guys have been like the thing that's worked best for you guys over the past couple of years?
Well, it's really that relationship building, and then kind of just trying to do more for our clients. We probably don't make as much money as we could because of what we do for our clients, but I think you have to weigh the loyalty factor versus trying to get paid for every little thing, the nickel and dime factor, and so the people that stick around and especially like we're seeing this right now with all the COVID stuff, we've got some people that maybe couldn't really afford to sticking around because they know we're going to help them. And they're like, whatever I can do, like, let me figure out a payment plan, or,
something.
So those people are sticking around because we've created a relationship with them, and we've kind of gone out of our way to do a lot of maybe free stuff, that does definitely have a value.
Mm-hmm.
So, doing a lot of interviews for people, taking advantage of our social media channel. And one of the things that really helped me in the business planning was taking the pressure off of social media. So a long time I was like, I'm not making any money off of social media. Like there's no business coming in from it.
Yeah.
And that was really stressing me out. And then I did this like masterclass thing with some people that were really versed in all that. And they said, your social media is not where you're going to make the money. Your social media is where you build the relationships.
That's right.
And you communicate and you reveal who you are to your audience. And then that is going to create a situation to where now they get to know you. And when you call on them and have that personal one-on-one interaction, face to face, if possible, not just by email, then that customer is going to want to stick around because they know you, they see you. And so, those things I think are really helping us out. So not putting so much pressure on ourselves, because I was really stressing out there for a while. Like, we're putting all this energy into social media and it should be making us money, and it's not. And we're just dumping, like, I'm just paying my employees, to waste all this time. But what happened is it really helped us in that we were helping our clients through our social media channels. And so then they were like, hey, we like you better because you're helping me out. You're helping to promote me. And so, and we have a special business in that we have 2 markets we're trying to serve. So we're having to attract one market, which is the brides, and funnel them in to our main market, which is the advertisers, the vendors.
Yep.
And so we're having this, serve 2 masters kind of. And so that's been really interesting, like seeing how we can support our vendors by using them to provide content to our brides. And it's just a wonderful circle. And so we haven't made any money off of social media, but I think it's really created the loyalty in our customers.
Yeah, but I would say that you probably have. You just don't realize it as, a direct measurement, right? Because the thing about social media is it's really just about communication and being social and learning about each other and, interacting and looking at stuff. And, it's a place for you to share who you are and what you do and, that sort of thing. It's not really a place to direct sale to someone, honestly. I mean, how annoyed do you get personally when all you see is ads and a feed, right? It's like, that doesn't add any value at all. What I want to hear is stories and want to see experiences and things like that, right? And that's where I enjoy connecting with my friends and connecting with people I know and with businesses and people that work in this space when they're telling stories and they're talking about various different things. That's the stuff that's cool. And that's the thing that brings you exposure and just, recognition in their mind that you're still there. It's like, hey, there they are, right? That's what, so that's kind of the purpose. I don't know. I think that there is, you're getting, I think you probably have made money from it. It's just not direct. It's not direct ROI, right? That's what I'm getting at.
Right. And it's exactly what we try to teach or just share to our clients is that all these little things matter. Right. You're not going to, the people who have left us don't really understand advertising. Like, my ad isn't working, and print is hard because you can't track it.
That's right. Well. Yeah.
And so advertisers, clients are hesitant about print because it's not as trackable. Now you can track it by doing that call to action. You can put a phone number in there that's a completely different number that, only the calls coming in from that number are because of that ad.
Yeah.
That's easy to do now with all the free.
Absolutely. But even
Yeah.
more than that, I would say it's about brand building, right? So if you're
Oh,
in Corpus
exactly.
Christi, right, it's about building your brand as a community business, right? I'm a community business. I'm building my brand. So every place that you have an opportunity to build your brand, you should be where you should be there, right? Um, Even though 70% of people are using search to look online for things, 30%, a half, one third of couples are still using print to actually understand what's going on. So there's an opportunity for you to build a brand, right?
Yeah.
It's not just online, not just vendor lists and things like that, but you need to be looking at multiple options and putting the most into those to build a brand.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that's, helping our clients build their brand. In turn, it helps us build our brand. It's a wonderful
Yep.
little circle.
Yep.
So that's been really great. I think personally, the thing I think we've done the best is just our cover shoots. That's one of the things I'm most proud of is, and being able to use so many people in our cover shoots, and the fact that still, we're in our 13th year and we still get people just begging to be a part of the cover shoot and contributing their time and products. And, it's usually we've got hair, makeup, flowers, decor, whatever the venue is,
Yeah.
models. And then we've expanded our cover shoots to do kind of like this backstory thing where we've brought in invitations and tried to do kind of like a whole wedding story of our own.
Sure. Yeah.
And that to me has been one of my favorite things to do, because then it allows us to do our own little creative thing. And then, it's really helped us create these beautiful relationships with our advertisers and even people that don't advertise, a way to pull the community in to help us and do an image that maybe some of these vendors would never get the chance to do. Like, it's really crazy. We did an avant-garde one where we made this vortex of flowers and this super crazy hair
Nice.
dude that was like 3 feet tall. And when do you really get to do that? So we
Yeah.
like creating covers like that are over the top, or just have more flowers than you can ever imagine. We had HB one year just totally delivered the goods. They just brought so many flowers to this one shoot one time. It was just like we were swimming in them. It was amazing.
Wow.
So that's been my favorite part over the years.
Cool. What would you say outside of COVID, but what would you say has been like your biggest challenges for the past couple of years?
I think personally, just expanding the business, since we are, instead of just trying to do communications online, we decided to build this resource online. And so that really took a lot of our profits. And so just balancing that when you're actively trying to expand a company and then balancing your overhead and,
That's always a challenge. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so luckily, because we were trying to keep our overhead really low so that our profits could go to the building of this new resource, when COVID hit, it didn't break us. We had pared down pretty good so that we could offload a lot of the money to build this thing. And so then, and we had just finished too, our phase 2. So that was paid for. So we had a blessing, with kind of timing with COVID. It wasn't as big of a deal as it could have been. We did lose about a third of our advertisers.
Sure.
But one of the things we did was, since phase 2 just got finished on the one community, we just said, okay, it's free for everybody. You know what? Let's just get people in there playing with it. We had already done some testing, but we just said it's free for 4 months. Let's just blow it up, and you guys use that. And so then we did a digital issue. We found a really fun new program with the flip book, and it was really interactive. We added a bunch of interactivity to that. So, you know, financially, we're definitely feeling it, but I think we've been able to kind of rise to the challenge for our advertisers and continue
Good.
providing value. And then, you know, there's some, you know, you talk about loyalty, there's some people we know are just in really bad spot. And so we said, you know what, we're gonna help you out. We're gonna defer payment. We're gonna actually promote you online, because it doesn't really cost us anything as far as like print space. So we're trying to help everybody as best we can.
That's great. That's great. My last question is, if you had to go back 5 years ago, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself, stop with the all-nighters. It's gonna be okay. And then I would have probably hired more people sooner.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's such a risky step with a business, is
Yep.
hiring staff, and also to pay myself more because
That's important.
yeah, I mean, I would always be the one to take the cut first, and you know, that's not really great for my marriage.
Yep.
But you know, hiring more people and outsourcing, not being afraid of outsourcing, that's something that we rely heavily on right now, and it's
Yeah.
been great. I mean, we outsource all over the country. We were working with people in Canada. You know,
It's important. Yeah, it's really important that you build a supply chain that allows you to do that in a way that makes it really efficient for you to do business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have started the online stuff probably a little sooner, or just, you know, like I said, hired more people for that part.
Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. Monica, thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Fun, and thank you for what you do for the wedding community. I mean, it's so valuable, the data that you put out. I mean, I don't know if you noticed this, but you're actually quoted in our magazine.
I didn't know that.
The data. So
thank you.
I'll have to send you the magazine that shows you that.
Cool.
But thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.